How was your
Thank you.
week?
Oh my goodness, it was just incredibly busy at work, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, the shows were chock full of stuff this week, weren't they?
Oh my goodness. I did not expect what I saw today.
Mm-mm. No, I was stunned.
Stunned, flabbergasted, shocked, over the moon, any adjective that could describe what we saw this week.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Did you have a good week?
I did. It's been pretty busy at work, but pretty typical. Work is work.
It is. Thank goodness it keeps our cable on.
Exactly.
Ah,
Absolutely. Okay, so welcome you guys to CBS Soap Dish Recap, where Trish and I recap both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful. This is the week of March 30th through April 1st. And the months, the weeks, days, months, they are just flying by.
absolutely. I agree. I can't believe, I mean, it's still weird because we lost a year and a half, it seems like, of
Mm-hmm.
whatever normal is. But yet, this has just flown by.
It really has. It really has. But I will say what helped is what we saw this week. I mean, yeah, it was pretty good. So,
Yes.
for you guys who are new here, again, thank you guys for the ones that continuously return to listen to the podcast. We've been on the show for 3 seasons now. Of course, you guys that have been there with us for a while, we have Keisha, usually, who is out. She's on deployment for the next 6 months. So we have our lovely Trish here who's filling in for her. And who knows, maybe she'll stick around and join all three of us. Maybe we'll do it together. We'll see. We will.
I am honored that you would even consider that. And I am honored to be seating, keeping the seat warm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we normally do is we recap the first half of the show with the Young and the Restless, and then the second half of the show is the Bold and the Beautiful. And then at the end of the show, we have a segment called Flip the Script, which, if there's a particular storyline or a scene that you wish you could change, this is where we flip the script. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this recap for and talk about this week for the Young and the Restless. And I usually give a summary before I get started with each one of the shows. So for the week of March, excuse me, did I get that right? So the 28th was actually Monday, I think. Yes.
Yes, I had to actually use my fingers.
Right, because if when I was counting back, I'm like April 1st, the 31st, the 30th. Okay, so it's actually the week of the 28th through April 1st. I apologize for that. So for Monday, for this week for the Young and the Restless, we had Victoria clings to her mother as her world falls apart. And then Michael reunites with his family. We also had Jack is stunned to see Diane Jenkins alive. And then we also have, hold on, I'm trying to get my screen to move. Jack has a tumultuous meeting with Diane. And then finally, we see that Diane make demands to see Kyle.
Hmm.
All right, so we had a couple of little small things, but we had two biggest things this week on the Young and the Restless, and this whole Diane Jenkins thing, and then everything that's going on at Newman. So, let's see, what do you want to tackle first? Because okay, let's do the smallest things first. So, one of those things is Chance going back to work.
Yeah, that so the fact that his therapist is telling him to get back on in the saddle, he just had a PTSD flash with Ray, and so I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea. I think he should be on desk duty or something before he partners up and heads out in the field.
Yeah, piece of the storyline is real interesting because I don't know if Chance is actually telling the truth. We saw a couple of scenes with his therapist, but do you ever remember hearing anything when he was in the scenes with that therapist where the therapist is telling him to go back to work. I don't remember seeing that.
I do not recall that.
So I'm wondering if he's telling the truth.
Yeah, and then if Ray is actually leaving,
Mhm.
then that makes me wonder, is Chance going to suffer another episode and somehow take Ray out? Or is Ray, I mean, because Ray was actually seemingly going to be paired with Chelsea.
Right.
And so I'm very confused as to how now all of a sudden he's going to be gone.
You know what I find interesting, and I tend to pay closely attention to this, and I don't know if you've noticed this over the years of both of the shows, is where when they get new cast members, it looked like they tried to get rid of cast members that maybe have been on for a while but don't have a storyline. Have you
Mhm.
noticed that when somebody comes in new, look like somebody else leaves?
Yes, absolutely. And, you saw that even when he came on board, we hadn't seen Paul for a while, but then we didn't see Paul at all.
Right.
So yeah, it's a weird seesaw when, I mean, I realize there's budgets and everything, but it would be kind of nice if, the number of cast made sense.
Mhm.
There used to be multiple people and an actual police station. Um, so I don't know. Definitely the way they shoot the show is changing, and I miss some of the old sets, but I guess that's just their way of managing how they have to do it. I miss Paul. I feel bad that Ray's going to be leaving, and I'm questioning everything that they're having Chance do.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And I mean, honestly, they are bringing in two iconic figures. Now, granted, Chemo is gone, but the granddaughter is there. And then
Mhm.
you bring Diane Jenkins back from the dead.
Now, see, that one gets me. I'm a little chapped by that one because of what Kyle is going to go through.
Yeah, I'm interested in that dynamic. I'm curious to see because I mean, look, they've had Adam, and I think we said this before. Adam has come back from the dead at least 4 times.
Right.
So I guess if Adam can come back 4 times, Diane can come back, I guess, right? And even Sheila Carter.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah. If we talked about her too with the face and everything.
exactly. So, okay, so let's just look at this as it is. Honestly, I've seen a lot of folks in social media saying that the relationship and chemistry between Sharon and Ray is boring now.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And then all of his family, so Lola, Mia, and his brother Arturo, they all are gone off the show.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
just him. And he's not really getting any good storylines. The last good storyline he had was this whole thing with Chelsea trying to poison him, and setting up Adam. But after that, it's just been a snooze fest with,
It has. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah, it's been a snooze fest. So I'm thinking that they may have, and I don't know if this was unexpected or if Jordy Villasuso quit or whatever the situation is, but I honestly believe that if they did let him go, it had to be the fact that they felt that his character and his storylines weren't going anywhere. So what that means is that Sharon is going to be by herself again, or she's going to hit hook back up with Nick.
Right. And you could kind of see that coming for a while now with the problems with the kids and so forth.
Right.
But I don't know. I miss Nick and Phyllis being together.
Yeah, I don't blame you. They had so much more fun together. I just think that
Really, they
this
did.
this whole thing with Nick and Jack is so overplayed. I mean, even when they showed the old scenes from way back in the day, it's like, my God, how long and how back and forth have they kept going with Nick and Jack and Nick and Phyllis and Nick and Jack? I mean, Nick and Jack, Jack and Phyllis,
Right.
and Phyllis and Nick. Sorry about that, but
Oh, it's okay. It's
yeah.
confusing.
It's confusing. See, I'm confused already. But I just find that why do you want to go down that road? I mean, who knows? Maybe they're going to try to create a triangle with Diane and Phyllis all over again, like they had umpteen years ago.
And that I look back at that, and Jack has been in love with Phyllis. Jack dealt with Diane.
Okay,
You
gotcha.
know, it was
Right.
it was it was really different. He did what he had to do to keep access to Kyle, and I don't know. She seemed to me to be such an instigator of malice, and everything she touched was ruined. Whereas with he and Phyllis, I mean, they actually had positive times and fun and laughing. And with he and Diane, it was just always a struggle, and always negative
Yeah.
from my memory.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I don't know. I'm if they wanted to come up with something, bringing Diane, like I said, I'll watch it. I want to see how Kyle, because that brings Kyle back too.
Yes.
Because I did hear that he will, that Michael Mueller will be coming back for for that character. But obviously, that goes back to our original conversation with this whole topic, is the fact that if you're bringing back Kyle, you got Diane Jenkins on, and then you got Allie, Chemo's daughter, on. Where would that leave space for, you know, the Ray character? Because they usually try to trim off dead storylines or boring storylines, and nothing really exciting has been happening with Sharon and Ray. It's just not there.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, we know they're doing it for their reasons. It will be interesting to see the relationship where we're actually getting Abbott family members back on screen.
Yeah, because Ashley is back too.
Yeah, and I do love the Abbotts. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Diane's she's always got well, just like even today when she said to Jack what she wanted from him was to get back in Kyle's good graces. She's always got an angle. She's always hedging. She's always trying to snake in.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Her and Sheila Carter has the same motivation. I do something horrible to prove to somebody else by giving them something. So kind of like
Mhm.
how Sheila did the whole alcohol switch, which of course it's all Brooke's actions when it came to Deacon, but at
Yep.
the end of the day it also broke up Ridge and sent and had him crawling back to Taylor,
Right.
and she felt that she should be thanked for that. At the same token, Diana's doing something similar. I gave you a granddaughter you never had, so you should be grateful and let me be in Kyle's life as much as Sheila also wanted to be in, Finn's life. So it's like,
So true.
how do you take events that are manipulated and, you know, just really psychotic and justify it as a way to get what you want, thinking that I'm giving you a gift?
That's pretty sick, isn't it? And twisted.
It's twisted.
Very twisted.
I know,
Just
right?
diabolical. Yeah. I can't imagine. The truth has come out with regard to Diane not being Taylor, and Allie now knows really quickly, and Jack knows as well. But with the alcohol switch, um, it. Mm,
They really kind of pushed the line with that storyline. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Because you're
mhm,
talking about knocking somebody off their sobriety.
exactly.
So yeah, they pushed the boundaries with that one, the writers.
Mhm.
So but anywho, so going back to Chance, I don't it kind of ties into what you were what you were saying. If Ray is out, they need a cop on set.
Mhm. Right.
So or on, as a character, because Paul is not there. Paul exists in fairyland because we always hear about him, but
Right.
there's no Paul on set to show his face, because I think Doug Davison is like, I'm not coming back. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, so obviously they would have to move Chance into that position so they can have some form of law enforcement as a character on the show.
That would make sense.
Because other than that, it doesn't make sense. If you're suffering from PTSD and you pretty much frazzled after being on a stakeout, and then your therapist say, "Oh yeah, get back out there," that doesn't make sense.
No, you froze. You couldn't move. You literally froze.
Yeah, so maybe it doesn't make sense, but obviously that's probably what they're doing in order to move him into being, GC's favorite cop now, because Ray will be out of there. So,
Yeah.
but it had to be something. You know what? It had to be a quick decision to have a change of heart, because yes, they were going to pursue the whole Chelsea Ray thing.
Yeah, and that's what makes me wonder if he wasn't the one that went to him and said, "Hey, I'm out."
Exactly. I honestly think that they were going to take his storyline a different direction, and then they was like,
Mhm.
"Nope, let's just cut him."
Yeah,
And that
I
sucks,
tend,
because I
I
don't
tend
want
to.
anybody to lose their job. You know what I mean?
I know, because I mean, behind all the characters are real people with real bills to pay.
Yeah, and he has a family. He got a wife and what, like 2 or 3 kids,
Couple of
and
kids. Yep,
yeah, so yeah, that sucks. But
it does.
it's gonna be interesting to see how they are going to kind of transition him out.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, we'll have to follow along online and see where he lands so we can support him in whatever's next.
Yep, pretty much. He'll probably pick up some other projects, or he might go to a different soap.
Yep,
Because
yep.
that's what a lot of them do. They'll go, either they're on Lifetime Network
That's so true.
or on the Hallmark Channel or in another soap somewhere. So, all right. The other small storyline that we have is the one with Noah and Mariah and Tessa.
Yeah, Noah's still lost.
That boy is still in love with Tessa. He's just not being honest with himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tough situation, because of the fact that she's engaged to be married to his sister. So, it's not like he can say, "Stop, I want you to be with me. I love you." It's going to have to be, if the writers are going to go this route, it has to be Tessa's move.
It absolutely has to be her move. And what gets me about this whole relationship is that she and Noah were together, and Mariah and Devon were together,
Correct.
and then Mariah and Tessa got together before they were completely separated. Well, I think Mariah was, but I don't think, I'm trying to remember that correctly. At any rate, the relationship started out
As an affair.
as an affair and
Mhm.
leaving people in pain.
Correct.
And I don't know. There's something about Tessa that makes me think she might wind up being this show's Liam Waffler,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know for sure. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure, but I know that Mariah is definitely fully 100% in love with her. But she has so much empathy for Tessa has so much empathy for Noah that I hope it doesn't happen, but you can almost see a potential slip.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm a person, well, and I know this is soaps, right? But I like I like for people to clean up unfinished business, right? So
Yes.
I would have hoped that the way that the storyline went is that maybe things were rocky between Tessa and Noah. They kind of broke up, and then, she realized the feelings that she have with Mariah. But they
Right.
made it where Mariah was the interloper.
They
Bec
did.
Even though I guess she, Tessa realized that she had feelings for Mariah, but Mariah knew that that girl was in a relationship and that her brother was still in love with Tessa.
Yes, she did.
and I just they could have still did the storyline. It's just the way that it went.
I agree. There was a lot of hurt.
Very much so. Very much so. But again, it's soaps. I mean, people cheat
Right.
on each other on soaps. You know what I mean? You
They
know.
do in real life too.
Yeah, that's true. But I will say with Noah right now in today's date is that that boy is he wants that girl back and he just cannot go there because he don't want to say anything or look like he's trying to cause problems for them.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be that person. So
Right.
that's why he's hooking up with all of these randoms.
Yep. And then of course Sharon is being overly it's one thing to be concerned. Listen, I have two 20-year-olds myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I get it about being concerned. But I think Sharon is way over the top.
They have really turned her into the helicopter mom, have they not?
Yeah, and like Mariah told her, your grown son, grown. He's I,
Yeah, she did.
I think his character got to be close to 30. And so for Sharon to be like, well, what are you doing? And how are you okay? And did you go out last night? Who did you go out with this time? I'm like, really?
It's kind of funny that you say that because I know some people who it didn't end until their mamas passed away.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well,
Yeah,
I guess it does happen.
it definitely does happen. And when you're watching it happen, your mouth has just dropped to the floor and you're thinking, how did it get like this?
Right.
What happened?
What happened? Exactly. But yeah, I have a feeling that where they're going with their storylines because Tessa is really invested in Noah's feelings.
Yes, she is.
So, like we were just saying, Tessa's going to be the one that's going to have to make that move. And it's going to,
Right.
and pretty much a lot of, I don't know, people have their statements, but one of the things that people talk about is karma because of how she did with Noah being in a relationship with Tessa. So sometimes how they say sometimes how you start out is how you end.
It's how you end up. It's the full circle.
Exactly. So if you started out on an affair, chances are it could go that way and your turn comes around. So
That's
I don't
exactly right.
so more than likely I from the way that this is looking is probably where the writers are going to go.
I think I agree with you fully on this one.
Yep. All righty. So let's see. So those were two smaller ones. We didn't see a lot of Devon this week, did we?
No, we didn't. No, Abby and Devon were kind of in the background on this one. I think
Yeah.
was more Chance and Abby and going back to work and him in his scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So let's move into the Jack and Allie storyline. So the mystery texter was obviously Taylor, aka Diane Jenkins. And we kind of touched on it already in this particular conversation, but I don't know. I don't
Uh,
know.
when the look on Jack's face was just of disbelief, horror, shock, and disgust.
Exactly. Let me ask you a question. And because I was sitting here earlier thinking about how, because I remember supposedly it was a Who Killed Diane storyline.
Hmm.
And she was in the park or at night, and I think
They were
sh
by the pond.
it was a pond or something. And like five or
Mhm.
six people came through that park. And it come to find out it was Nikki
Yep.
that was the one that was supposedly had killed her. What was the reason behind? I'm trying to remember what was the reason that everybody was coming for her. Do you remember?
So it had to do with all of her shenanigans from basically what she was doing to everybody. And it was all negative, whether it had to do with somebody with a job, somebody with regard to Kyle, with regard to trying to get in between Victor and Nikki. I don't remember the exact specifics. I'd have to do research, but the overarching issue was her burning everybody and just ruining relationships and leaving a wake of destruction in her path.
Okay, because I thought it had something to do with because it was basically the Newmans that were coming after her at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember Victoria being in the park. I remember Victor there, even and of course Nikki was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she was trying to blow the whistle on one of them about something. I don't remember because she also brought up Tucker McCall too.
Well, yeah, and Deacon,
Well, she said Deacon was the one that helped
he
her.
helped her. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that back then?
I don't remember any of that because I guess they didn't plan for this because there was no scene after she got hit with the rock.
Hmm.
That was it. She was dead. She was gone.
Exactly. So my thing is because when she said Deacon Sharp was the one that helped me in the morgue and all this so kind of stuff, and I'm like, are they trying to tie in? Because Deacon, of course, is on the Bold and the Beautiful right now.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, and they're in L.A. Remember, Diane
Yep.
is living in LA or was in LA. So, and of course, Deacon is there right now. So, it would be interesting if the writers kind of tie both the shows in together with this storyline somehow.
Oh, they could do a crossover again.
They could. They most definitely could. I was thinking about that. I'm like, Deacon Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember what was he doing in Genoa City?
I don't remember. See, and that's why it kind of, when they started showing all these clips from previous years going way back,
Mm-hmm.
before Kyle was born and, the whole thing between her and Phyllis, I was like, okay, but I would have preferred for them to go back to the part where she had last left. You know what I mean?
Oh, Deacon was there because of Amber.
She was there because of Amber.
Remember when Amber she left Los Angeles and went to Genoa City and she was dating Danny Romalotti?
Mhm.
And Amber and Deacon were together because of the baby that wasn't hers.
Okay.
So we're going way back in the history, like before 2010.
Okay, so you know what? Okay, so I pulled up some information because the last time she was on the show was in 2011 and 12.
Uh-huh.
Diane tried to extort Victor into giving her money for a tape that showed that Abby was responsible for an accident which caused Tucker to land in the hospital for several months in a coma.
Huh. Why don't I remember that?
Yeah, I'm like, was I paying attention?
I feel like I've slept or something. I don't
Yeah,
remember
that's
that
what it
at all.
says. I pulled up the old storyline, and it says when her attempt to extort Victor failed, she took her efforts to Ashley. Diane then confessed to having slept with Tucker, leading Ashley to slap her across the face.
Yeah, because
Diane
Ashley and
sends
Tucker.
Yeah, that's how Tucker got involved. Diane then sends a mass text message to everyone who had wronged her: Abby, Ashley, Jack, Nick, Phyllis, Tucker, and Victor. The morning after Diane's dead body is discovered in the lake of the park by Patrick Murphy.
Oh, Catherine Chancellor's husband, Patrick Murphy, Murph.
Murph, right, exactly. So all this started because of extortion.
Yeah.
So Abby was responsible for causing that accident that happened to Tucker. And so when he, like Yeah, so that kind of helps. I don't remember it, but obviously, maybe some of our listeners may be like, yeah, 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 I remember that. You
Yeah,
know.
I definitely remember Ashley slapping Diane because of Tucker, because she and Tucker were together, I think, at the time.
Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. 2012. This is where Deacon comes into play. So it says in 2012, more evidence is brought to the attention of Ronan,
Hmm.
indicating Nikki Newman killed Diane Jenkins in self defense. However, further video evidence shows that it was Nikki then husband Deacon Sharp who delivered the fatal blow from a rock to Diane's head, finally resolving the death investigation. I don't remember that.
I only remember it was a rock to the head. I don't remember any of that
But
other
I
stuff.
always thought it was Nikki. I didn't know
Me
that
too.
there was tape that came out to show Deacon hitting her in the head, which was
I didn't
Nikki's
remember
husband
that at
at the
all.
time.
Yeah, I've always only remembered Nikki.
Wow. Yeah, that's because I'm like, how did when Diane said in today's episode that Deacon is the one that helped her, I'm like, how did Deacon get into this?
Hmm.
Well, now we know because obviously either I went to sleep or I missed that episode. I
Well,
missed
it
that
was a hot
episode
minute.
where the tape showed Deacon did it. So, okay. But why? But you see what they did with the storyline. She turns around and said today that Deacon was the one that helped her. So
Mhm.
if you're married to Nikki and you're trying to defend her, by how they definitely tried to throw those storylines together to make it fit,
Yeah,
because that makes no sense. He tried to kill you, but he tried to save you too.
it makes absolutely no
It
sense.
makes no sense, writers.
No, it does not.
But I guess they had to come up with something to try to connect 2020, well 20, that's actually 10 years ago, connect 2012 to 2022. So it is what it is. But I'm
Soap
actually,
time.
what did you say?
Soap time.
Soap time,
Time
exactly.
lapse.
I am, however, curious. Okay, so let me ask you, and I'm going to ask you this question about Finn later because I got a lot to say about that whole situation with his shooting.
Right.
But with Jack, when Jack says, I'm not letting you anywhere near Kyle, do you agree with that?
Well, I mean, it's not really up to him, is it? She can find Kyle
Exactly.
on her own. So,
Exactly. Exactly. Because my thing is, he's a grown adult, he's not
yep.
12.
Right. He's not
And
a little boy anymore.
exactly. And if he wants to, have a relationship with his mother, let her explain, learn more about her. That's not Jack's call to do that or interrupt that.
I agree.
I mean, as much as this is crazy, what she did by buying Chemo's house and delivering Jack's granddaughter to him on a platter, at the end of the day, it's up to Kyle whether or not he wants his mother in his life.
Right.
So, I mean, because what ends up happening when you control a situation like that with a crazy person, it could come back to bite you in the butt.
You could get shot.
You could really get shot. You could. I mean, I'm gonna hold my tongue because I have a lot to say about the Steffi, Finn, and Sheila situation. But yeah, I mean, when you try to stand in, especially grown people,
Hmm.
it's one thing if this is a child, okay?
Right.
But an overgrown adult, no. I mean, Kyle is a father himself. He has a whole wife. He has a son. I mean, seriously, he has to figure that out. So I don't agree. And I mean, it might be in a popular opinion because some people might think, oh, he needs to keep that psychopath away from Kyle. Well, it's Kyle's decision, though.
And Jack can talk to him about it, and he can warn him about it and tell him everything. but then you still have to leave him alone and let him make his own grown decision.
Yep. And then if he sees that his mom isn't worth being around or that relationship is going to not work, then it's going to be his decision and not the fact that somebody made the decision for him.
Exactly. And it's not like Diane shot anyone in the stomach.
Exactly.
Not like
I mean,
Sheila.
she definitely tried to switch sperm and she
Mm-hmm.
tried to, extort money and, and sleep with other people's husbands, but it's nothing like getting shot in the stomach. So,
Right.
hmm
Right. And
yep.
Ashley's done all of those things except for extortion. So,
Yeah, and the crazy thing about what Jack says is that, and I did agree a little bit. There was 1% of me that agreed with Diane that says, "Hey, wait a minute, you talking about I haven't changed. What about you? You were able to change because Jack had did some crazy things back in the day. Now, he
well,
wasn't as
yeah.
ruthless as Victor, but he made some changes and now he's like the good guy on the show."
Right. And that's so funny to me because he literally walked over Victor's body when he was having a medical emergency and kicked his hand when he walked by and left the room.
Exactly.
You
That's what
can't really be too judgmental.
Exactly, and I find that that's pretty much what happened on both these shows is that people get high and mighty, but they're very
Yep.
hypocritical.
Absolutely. And the higher they go, the farther they fall when it's all said and done.
And the crazy thing is, I like the way that the writers did that because when Diane says, "Well, wait a minute, you did some horrible things in your past and you changed," there was nothing Jack could say with that.
He couldn't say a word. He knew he slept with his father's wife.
Mm-hmm. He did a
He knew
lot of,
he tried to take the company away from his own dad.
yep. So I mean, even though you're not as psychopathic as a Sheila or a Diane, still you did some bad things yourself. So
Not innocent.
not innocent. You're no saint.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to think what else. I'm liking the relationship that's slowly melting with Allie and Jack.
Oh, I think it looks very sincere.
Right.
I hope it is.
Now Ashley isn't happy about it though.
She's a little annoyed by the whole situation. I kind of thought that was over the top.
Well, in her head, her idea of this whole thing is the fact that he don't know this girl. She could be setting him up to go get for money, and it's not. You can
Mhm.
tell. Even Phyllis said, "I know a con. She's no con."
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. They had to bring Ashley back into this some kind of way because everybody, Billy is happy with it, Tracy is happy with it, so they had to throw some contrast in there with with Ashley.
True. And I loved how Abby told her, as much as I hate to agree, Phyllis is right.
Yeah, yep, sure is.
Oh,
I honestly
I
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I
No.
totally forgot. Abby was in the shows this week. She had the conversation with Ashland at the
Oh
bar.
yes, but okay, so we'll save that for because she was totally oblivious and Ashlyn was looking like
Mm-hmm.
you didn't talk to your family? Oh no, I haven't been so busy.
Right.
But you know what? That says a lot about how the Newmans move. If you're not part of the core members of the family, because the core members are Nikki, Victor, Victoria, and Nick. Adam and Abby are pretty much on the outer side of that core.
They are fringe Newmans.
They're exactly fringe Newmans. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to make sure we finish and complete this whole thing with Jack. But um I'm wondering, are they going to bring some issues with her as well, meaning
Mm-hmm.
Allie? Because I
Right.
don't think she's just going to come up to GC and be like, "Oh yeah, everything is great and beautiful." I wonder if she got something up her sleeve too.
Well, and she has the estranged mom too. So there's all kinds
Yes,
of cans of worms that can be opened up.
yeah, they might slide her mom in there too. That's a good point.
And if her mom and chemo weren't together, maybe the mom was always pushing him to get back with his family because of the money, and maybe that's why she left him. I don't know. I always think whenever that kind of stuff happens on soaps, it's either about the money or the ownership of a company, or you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. You know what would be a very interesting team? And if she comes to town, because obviously Diane is going to make her way back to Genoa City. They're not going to just
Mhm.
leave her stuck in LA.
Right.
If she team up with Ashland Locke,
Ooh. Wow,
that
that would be some diabolical evil.
ooh, absolutely, I'm here for that. Now that
Mhm.
I would be here for,
Right.
just to see because Diane is not happy. I mean, she claimed that she's changed and she's been to
Mm-mm.
counseling. I don't because she put this whole thing in motion, so she's not far removed. Sheila said the same thing. I'm not the same
Right.
person.
No,
But
you're worse.
well, I mean, I got my theories on that, but like I say, I have a lot to say about that situation.
Yeah.
Um, but could you imagine if they do get him out of Newman, or if he ends up taking over Newman because it's too late with him signing the contract? And Diane comes to town and they put an agenda to take down both the Abbotts and, well, I don't think she would take down the Abbotts because of Kyle.
Mm.
But if they put a diabolical thing together because maybe she have issues with Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
they could work together to take down the Newmans and it would be toxic.
Man, Wyatt R. Writers, I hope you're listening to Letitia on this podcast because I love that idea.
Man, it's one thing to have Loch Ness monster there, but kind of mix Diane Jenkins with oh boy.
Right? That
Mm,
would be wicked.
absolutely. So, writers, if you're listening,
Pay attention, please.
pay
Thank you.
attention. And who knows, maybe they'll do it because May sweeps are coming. So
That's right.
they might turn GC upside down. You got two crazy people in town.
They need a bigger institution.
I know, or something. Man. Who was that? That was Steffi that told Sheila maybe she need to go back to Genoa City. Bring her back here too.
Oh no! Could you imagine Phyllis? Oh my God! That and Lauren. Oh, mm-mm.
Oh my God. If they all three of them, you know what? See, that's why you need to have really creative writers, because if they put together a three-headed monster with these three to just wreak havoc in GC,
That would be crazy.
that would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we'd all be here for it,
I
just
would be
watching
definitely here for
it.
that.
Don't touch the remote.
Yeah, I would be here for that. I think especially if they all have three separate diabolical plans to try to take down, I don't know, maybe Victor or somebody, because Diane has axe to grind with the Newmans. Of course, Ashland wants Newman Enterprises. And then if you bring of course Sheila Carter back, that shakes up, like you said, the whole Phyllis and the Lauren dynamic, and any issues that I don't remember her having any issues with the Newmans, but just the fact that she's in town would drive everybody crazy.
It absolutely would. So she could go after Fenmore's.
Hmm.
Diane could go after Newman, and Locke could continue going after Newman Locke.
Or Diane can go after Jabot.
Yes, she could.
Find a way to, and then turn Kyle against Jax, like me and my mom is going to run Jabot. Oh my God.
Did I say go after Ashland? I meant Jabot. What did I say?
You said Newman.
Oh, I mean, thank you so much for saying what you said. I was like, wait, I didn't say what I meant to say. My head heard me say it, but it didn't come out of my mouth.
I mean, could you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Because here's the other thing. Phyllis. has a grandchild with Sheila Carter's daughter.
Right.
So, I mean, she's still connected to that side of the family on GC. Actually, Sheila Carter has about 4 or 5 children. But I mean, Ryder and Daisy
Daisy.
and Finn and Mary and there's one other kid too, I think. Yeah.
Did
So
she have time to have all these kids? I mean, we never saw any of this.
all of a sudden we just knew Daisy and Ryder showed up to town and it was like Sheila is my mama. So
Right, right. We're like, oh, okay. We
that's the
thought
only
she was in
thing
prison.
that's the only thing that really gets me on the Bold and the Beautiful about Sheila and the way that they wrote her character. She's gung ho over Finn, but you also have other children and grandchildren out there.
And it makes you, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. I remember Daisy's story being more long term than Ryder's.
Mm-hmm.
And Daisy was arrested, right?
I thought okay, is she in jail or something? Because I know that with
That's what I thought,
the
was she was in
baby,
jail.
yeah, Daniel has custody of that kid.
Right.
I forgot the baby's name. But yeah, oof, girl, I wish if they could bring those three to town. Oh my goodness. And even throw in what's the guy name? Ian Ward.
Oh, no.
I'm just bringing back a crusade of villains.
You are. Are we writing Y&R, or is this a horror movie?
I mean, they just come out of nowhere all around the same time, and the whole city of GC and its residents are like, "Oh my God, what is happening?"
And it could happen on the storm show day with
Exactly.
lightning and thunder and hurricane or tornadoes and
Exactly. They should. You know what they could have did this around Halloween time.
absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Do
That would be
a
so
because
much
they
fun to
always
watch.
do. You know, your YNR has a Halloween episode, and it's people with these weird dreams, and dressing up, giving out candy, and that's okay. But if you really want the drama to create that around there, bring back the supervillains
I
for
agree.
that for at least 2 days, the day before and Halloween day.
Yeah, and the stories don't even have to be, a year long. They could be one quarter.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. I know we getting off the beaten path. We thinking about all types of creative stuff to
Oh
do.
my gosh, look at what we did.
I know, right? But
We've written at least 5 shows.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Kyle, because they're obviously bringing, like I said, Michael Mueller back to YNR,
Yeah,
and with Diane Jenkins being back in town, and I know Jack cannot stand in the way of this, because here's the thing, it's probably going to take Kyle telling him, I understand you want to protect me, but I need to have my say.
right.
Let him have his say, because I honestly believe that Kyle is going to be pissed.
So hurt.
Yeah, he's going to be very upset because of the fact that you still there?
I'm here. Right.
With hold on one second.